bring in Patrick Murphy. He's former Democratic congressman from Florida's 18th district, and Ron Christie, former special assistant to President George W. Bush. You heard a lot of that, Ron. What do you think? He was very optimistic about getting something done with taxes, whether you want to call it cuts or reform. Are you as optimistic, Ron?
Good afternoon to you, Michelle. I'm somewhat confident that the House of Representatives and the Senate will find a way to forge compromise in the tax legislation. I'm a bit worried. You have a number of the moderates who say, well, we don't want to take away the mortgage interest deduction, and we're a little concerned about how much this is going to cost. And of course, you have some of the more hardliners, the members of the House Freedom Caucus, who have their issues as well. But they all need to recognize one thing that's very important, is that we have the largest governing majority right now since 1929. And if Republicans can't work with the president to find something to put on his desk, I think it really does not look good for the Republican leadership. So, yes, I'm optimistically cautious in my assessment that we will get something done in September.
Mr. Murphy, when you were in Congress, you were a Democrat, but often described as a pro-business Democrat. Paul Ryan today said he thought it was possible to actually get some Democratic votes when it comes to tax cuts, especially because our business tax structure makes us so uncompetitive. Is he right about that?
Well, the facts that we do need to pass comprehensive tax reform, absolutely he's right. But I can't say that I share in his optimism. Unfortunately, when the Congress gets back in session in a couple of weeks, they've got to raise the debt ceiling. They've got to pass a budget. The Russia stuff isn't going to go anywhere. The Charlottesville incidents and other outbursts like that from our president that we just saw in Phoenix are not going to stop. There's going to be more and more distractions from this president. So, you know, I wish we were in a time now where we could come together and find that common ground to get important things done like comprehensive tax reform.
I hear all that. You didn't
quite
answer the question that I was asking. If we got to the moment where there was something to vote on, he really talked about the possibility that there would be Democrats in states that have heavy manufacturing bases who at least privately agree that there needs to be something done with corporate taxes. If it came to a vote, is it possible we would see some Democrats go along?
He even cited some states,
yeah.
North Dakota, West Virginia, others.
Yeah, look at it. Devil's in the details, right? Depends what's in that bill. I mean, so far, you know, the talking points have been much different than the actual legislation we've seen. I mean, President Trump on the trail was talking about health care for everyone, make sure everyone has health care. But then look at the actual legislation we saw. It was much different from that. So, unfortunately, I think what we're going to see, realistically speaking, after they raise the debt ceiling, after they pass the budget, is a small version of tax cuts for very few people. That's something I don't see many Democrats getting behind.
Ron, Speaker of the House Ryan also said that dropping rates would not be as effective for growth as fixing the system. If we can't actually fix the system, can we still drop rates?
We should. We must. It's imperative, given the fact that America, I think, is at an extraordinarily competitive disadvantage, given how high our corporate tax rates are. And here's where I disagree with a good congressman from Florida, the former member. I believe Speaker Ryan, he's been a friend of mine for over 20 years. He has many solid relationships on the other side of the aisle, people who trust him, people who believe in him. And it wouldn't surprise me if you found a number of moderate Democrats working with the Speaker and the Republicans to get something through the House. And it also wouldn't surprise me if you found the Senate Minority Leader, Chuck Schumer, from a highly taxed and very highly regulated state, New York State, to work with Senate Republicans to get something done. So we have a very small window of opportunity. We have 11 legislative days in September to move a lot of legislation through the House and the Senate to get the appropriations process done, as you heard the Speaker say. But to just summarily dismiss it and say that the president's a distraction, I think that it does a great disservice. The Congress is there to do the people's business, and that's what they need to do.
All right. Gentlemen, thanks so much. Patrick Murphy joining us from Florida, Ron Christie, I think in D.C. Thanks, guys.